Hi, my name is Dr. Narcis Nguema, and this message is for Donald Trump. Mr. President, um, your policy is disturbing tons of African people. You invited four African leaders, supposedly leaders, to Washington, D.C. in order to congratulate them about their policy. I believe, as a doctor, politist, and analyst, who is among the most qualified around the world, who doesn't claim to have such a job because I prefer to relearn everything by myself. Like I can speak English, then you can hear me. I'm from Gabon, the country of the one of the president that you invited, Oligui Nguema, uh, General Oligui Nguema, who is backed by France because he's a betrayer. Mr. President, not only would I talk about the mistreatment he is doing to the country, demolishing all the houses of the population of the country, Gabon, in order to build the fictive houses up to now. But he doesn't, he leave them homeless with their family. I'm going to first tackle that point before to tackle the immigration, the inner immigration of those concerned country as well as the global country in Africa and the world, your policy of immigration and some principal policies that you have as a homosexuality and a straightforwardness way of living. Mr. President Donald Trump, I heard you congratulating one of the president that he speak a good English during your meeting in the White House yesterday. But there are citizens that went to school, learned, and went beyond the learning from school, like me, PhD holder from University Paris Descartes Sorbonne in France, some years ago, over a decade, then becoming trainee attorney, uh, and then come here, coming here in America and relearn over. Yes, people like me can be useful for their country, but Mr. President, you gotta heed and understand something. When somebody is studying, he needs deepening his knowledge from school, gotten from school, and expand to really become a pundit, affirmative pundit in his field and beyond. And here is my case. Um, these messages totally improvised, and according to your policy about immigration, uh, that doesn't really align with American Constitution, which is uh, make people jealous around the world as appreciative constitution, one of the well-talked constitution around the world. Mr. President, you should look up your constitution at first. Please, if somebody can share this message to the president, do that, do so, and he has to hear this message. Mr. President, at first, you were invited for president from Africa, and among the most obedient. First of all, Oligui Nguema is not really a president of Africa. He did a phony coup to protect his family that were in power, for whom he was killing Gabonese during a contest and manifestation on the street. And it occurred multiple times as well as poisoning opponent. You can look up the internet. Andre Mbauban was strangely sick, then died. Mambundu died that way of opponent. Uh, died in a strange way in the hotel, and the story is long. Oligui was the main guard of Ali Bongo, to whom he expelled, in the shadow to go to Angola and then joining United Kingdom and France. Ali Bongo was a serious criminal by intent, but who was physically committing those crimes? It was Oligui Nguema that was enforcing them, that was killing people for the sake of the eternity of the power of the Sir Ali Bongo and family. Oligui Nguema, to whom I first congratulate as okay, he gave us some brief so people like me can enjoy going back to their country. But it is the opposite which is happening because you don't eat like there are some intellectual hidden somewhere in America who really try to succeed after understanding what school had to offer to them. Mr. President, Oligui is not a president and he should be removed from the power. Why? Because uh, as a president, you and I agree with you in a certain point where we say America first. Yes, I agree with that policy. As a Gabonese, it should be Gabonese first. The contract he has signed about ores and mines, Africa cannot be just a ground of digging resources and not creating anything. This is where we people like me we can. If the president is saying, okay, Mr. Dr. Narcissus Nguema, let come to the White House, I give you 2 billion and you go become the president. Yes, I can blindly lead the country. Otherwise, I can better advise you when it comes to international matters as well as global economy and global law understanding and the United Nations. I have the training for and beyond. I'm more qualified than most professors, but I did that alone. And people like me are being bullied by your system because when you say something, what you don't eat is uh, the civil servant that serve the country try to mess up and mix up everybody in the same box, and they don't differentiate. And you yourself, and here is the first advice also is to understand that when somebody come to America, which is a country of opportunity, you the person needs at first go to school, obviously, understand what the school has to offer, all the lesson and stuff, eat them, and then become probably an expert. But if he really observe the society, meaning America, chances are he will first willing to make some money. You came as a student, if you have an opportunity to make money, and then go to the country or expand to the country or go better help the country is a better choice than going there back as a student that you came as you came before. So, Mr. President, some president you choose the most obedient president to call them to the White House for what agreement on which are not clear, rebuke them and readjust them. But those are not the people to talk to. If you really want Africa to change in a very classical, well done, and excellent manner, you have to bet on people like us, like me. I did not have time to go to the street or demonstrate. I don't do that in America. Uh, and when Oligui Nguema came, uh, people are busy to their work and do whatever they have to do in order to live and survive and make thrive their business. That's what it was the case. That's why you kind of think that is the right person to talk to. That guy is making Gabonese homeless. Is creating families. Imagine you have a family. You said Melania was your family. Yes, we agree. You cannot send it back to Slovenia, but we agree with you. It is your family. But Mr. President, either this idea, if you know what it is to live lonely, uh, chasing a goal, deprive oneself for everything, from everything in order to achieve that goal, and being mistreated as you are doing, being bullied, going to the work with the chance that even though somebody is citizen, even though somebody has a green card, even though somebody is living in the application of the green card, he has the authorization to work, which is makes him not um, illegal in the country after you have the work permit, social security, and bank account, as well as you contribute to the taxes system, the IRS, or the country of America. Those people you are sending back, IRS hold them money, and that money was for their retirement. So when you send them back, it's a scam from also from the IRS. Whether this money has to be at first refunded by the concerned people, whether just drop that policy. If you cannot apply it to your family, Melania, you cannot apply it to nobody. Those people that come here, live here, try to do everything, hustle daily or on a daily basis in order to achieve at least a survival goal or beyond, like me, how owning businesses and make them finance. Break down rule that make them like bank cannot finance easily their businesses because most of them have very excellent ideas. Um, and by inviting such a president like Oligui Nguema, that's a provoke against the population of Gabon and beyond in Africa. Mr. President, this is an opinion, but also an advisement that keeping bullying African and the owner of voodoo, African knows very well switchcraft, and if they do that because of the hunger you create in their in their inside, what could happen is a curse, a longevity curse. China is the soaring, powerful country in the world now. It's not deniable. They are living beyond America development a long time ago, since like 10 years, and nobody can compete at this stage their leadership in technologies, economy, and infrastructure. So we want to do the same, partner with a country that can help, but not stop helping the people we want to get rid of in Africa, such as the president, vice president, who mistreat the population in order to survive. If families are crying, who have been working on their along their life to own something like a house, a mansion, and are willing to pass them on. If the house has to be broken down and evicted, this has to be done legally with all the implementation of the living condition, the good living condition, not like finding a game in the forest and making a game, a meat for our own sake. It should not be done that to chase, to throw people outside and make them homeless with their family when they're being legally working for their country. And these houses, even though they're ill built, there has to be a policy to make them recover, reimburse them of the amount of money, or find a house which is more decent somewhere. We know how to do that. We have the expertise to doing so. Oligingema is not a person to talk to. First of all, he cannot speak English. I speak English very fluently. I learned it alone. We and I know some in the country who have done the same effort. We observed our billionaire work. We observe and we try to implement it. Now you said go back to your country, Mr. President. Stop that kind of policy. It's not fair, and it will backfire against your progeny, against yourself. If you want to talk about it, I'm available on 347 712 5766. 347 712 5766. Dr. Narcis Nguema. So, with that being said, Mr. President, when it comes to the inner immigration, I think is against human rights, against the American Constitution, and the Congress listen to them. They are the most acknowledged and pundit lawyers who have learned whatever surround the law and the establishment of the United States and the entity since decade. They've learned things since decade. Me myself, you cannot be a doctor in law. Whoever have learned what happened before and what which are the doctrine that dominate in the field. until you propose, offer something to the progeny, which is writing a thesis with those idea foundation of the historical law and beyond, like business law and economic law. So, Mr. President, one of the second or third advice is to surround yourself with PhDs, lawyers. They will lead you to take better decisions. Those people, they are university professors. They have sometimes, like you, they are 70 years old and above, and they are 60 years old. They have experiences. Oh, they are young, but very acknowledged, very pundit. I'm talking since minutes now. Tell me the mistake I've done in English. I learned it alone. I can go back in Africa and become a president there, but unless you give me 2 billion to doing so, otherwise leave us the damn alone. We, Mr. President, we respect you, but we really respect you when it comes to the policy of being straightforward. When it comes to the relationship, like there's only two genders, male and female. Yes, that's very right. We cannot betray the law. We cannot betray anything that make us civilized people. And one of the foundation is recognizing a mother and a father in the family as the head of the household. Mr. President, Oligui Nguema can express himself in such a way because he did not learn. You don't lead if you did not learn. He belonged to the people which are called, according to my own observing and experience, empty ego. He belonged to the people who have empty ego and around the country with I'm big, I'm this and that, just a suit and running around like a puppet and pandit, like a puppet. Oligui is nobody but somebody that need the war. He provide Gabon is the scene of Israel now, as if Gabon was at war, which is not the case. So you should understand that those kind of president is not the people to patronize again. It's not the people to back up. It's not the people to even do business with. They did not learn sustainably anything that make them a leader. And Mr. President, another advice is please take the deep lawyers surround you and listen to them. About the American policy, I understand that you want to protect the country, but don't make it unfair that those who deserve become those who don't deserve. I see here in the immigration system, those homosexual are the people that you are easily easing the processes. They are easing when somebody says, "Oh, I'm homosexual" and stuff like that. Those are the people they give easily immigration status. When it comes to real people who have been who are seeking for asylum because they've been uh, anywhere or any mean bullied or threatened, they've been in danger. People like Oligui Nguema were killing and threatening people and poisoning, but now it comes like a sheep. Somebody innocent person is not is a real criminal, a tricky person, an hypocrite, a perfied, and even a pedophile. So, Mr. President, help us remove such a person. It cannot lead a country. We have expertise enough to make even blindly Gabon looking more beautiful than some country like Zimbabwe, like South Africa, like others, like even Tunisia, more beautiful as well as America. We can make everything in Africa trackable, and we just need the resources for that. So I want to work with a president that thinks that this man is different. He has learned, he did not cheat, but don't bully us again and make us everything going smooth and every property be delivered to people who have done the effort. We are not illegal. Don't treat us among the illegal because you are doing so. Your system, because you oppress them, they oppress us, and that should be stopped. We are the people that came in America and did not stop by any way of learning. So now that we are a certain age, we are building businesses which you should accompany because you suppress the U.S. aid and any way of helping foreigners, and that also should be stopped. Reopen it to help the people and tell the people like foreigners, those who come here any way of legally, even those who come by crossing the borders have a reason to be here. The land, meaning the earth, belongs to all the world, is an asset for the world, for any living being in the world. Citizenship is a man built process. A fish can come from China to America. It doesn't ask for any paper to nobody. So we become the people who are kind to animals, but uh, hostile to ourselves. And that should be stopped, Mr. President. I think your policy about immigration, about wars, are failing you, and you should stop there. Otherwise, Mr. President, some African, you keep playing with them, some of them will do voodoo, and it won't be look good for you and for your progeny forever and ever. So, Mr. President, those who have any kind of legitimacy to be here, any kind of legality that they've started, any kind of delivered paper, keep them updated and grant them any asylum, any green card, any citizenship at will. Because the privilege the immigration administration is doing is giving the paper to homosexual, giving the papers that to people that obviously lie, and depriving those who can defend themselves because they say the truth. Because when somebody is saying the truth, it doesn't need to present that much argument or to convince anybody, because he convinced that what he's saying is the truth. He doesn't need to convince anybody. But those who come here lying and about the genders, lying about homosexuality, are the one that immigration court and administration are giving easily paper. The other ones have to wait up to over 10 years. Mr. President, another thing that I have to make you pay attention to is if you really know what it is to live without family around and being really on a daily basis, going to the job with a kind of fear that I don't know what will happen, doing good but still come home and not knowing, not feeling defended by any administration which is supposed to be guarded by a safeguard wise a representative like a lawyer, like a president like you are. Mr. President, be wiser towards immigrants. Okay, those who committed crime, we agree they should be removed. But Mr. President, another idea that you have to pay attention to is that a lot of lawyers, when they still can defend themselves, especially in the beginning when they cannot speak English very well, when they cannot express themselves or not defend themselves, what happened? The citizen and all the people that advance them in the coming in America used to bully them on a daily basis and accuse them of being a problem, and then calling the police on them, calling this and them. It used to happen all the time. So you have to know that most of them, when they say they're criminal, they did that, most of the time is not true. Some inner citizen do the coup, they involve them, and they make them assume the responsibility and the legal punishment about it. So it make the administration be very insightful about it. Mr. President, my message is like the people that you invited are the most submissive to France, and it should not happen again. Africa, we are most graduated than France. Macron cannot speak English like that, we are flawlessly like that, and you know it. You've been speaking him, his English is reading. Oligui Nguema is not the person to deal with nowadays. We have big lawyers, we have big leaders who are hidden because of your policy you are implementing, because they kind of live in the shadow in order to not that much express themselves. Mr. President, this message, I hope it to be well received and for you to eat it and adjust the policy about the immigration, about the kind of president you want to deal with. The way of dealing with African is transferring the tech and let them do and operate their own and lead the country in a very well manner. Mr. President, as I said, 2 billion, and I show you how we can partner in Africa, but Oligui Nguema has to be removed from the power. It's not alone. Ouattara has to be removed. Those are the situations where you have to send your military and say, okay, enough of the power, leave the power to civilians, so that people like us will not need to be in America. We already learned we are building businesses. Otherwise, if you cannot remove them from the power, don't bully us again, Mr. President. That's politely said, because it makes no sense that people who threaten people like on a daily basis, he sends his military everywhere. You cannot walk freely. You cannot build your house. You cannot own anything. You leave them in power, while people who are scared to leave that situation, or actually are in America or willing to come, you also bully them. You cannot be unwise to taking the right decision here, unwise to taking the right decision in the inner. Mr. President, I will leave you alone and wish you a very great journey in your making decision. And we want to help you as advisor, international advisor, or leave us the resources that we can lead the country with, like leaders that need real resources in order to show to the world that we can do better than what we are witnessing nowadays in Africa now. And those are leaders that you call the worst leader ever. It seems like idiocracy, the leadership by empty ego people are the one that you like beside the real leaders, and you are threatening everybody. Mr. President, this policy has to stop. We love you. We love some item quoted among your policy to enforce, but leave immigrants alone. They are human beings. They are not animals. And Alcatraz, leave that idea, please. Remove that. Otherwise, the worst will happen to America. Because if you chase somebody like who is highly educated, but he will go straight to Russia, to tie bond with China. That will be understandable. So if you cannot support us, please leave us alone at least, and grant us with any kind of authorization that will allow us to really soar and really develop our endeavors here and expand it in Africa. A student that comes here in America has to go to schools, yes, but he has to eat and develop and understand the culture, then build his business, making a tremendous amount of money, then expand it to the country back, so that he has succeeded. But if he comes here, chances he comes back or goes back to Africa like a student, chances are, if he doesn't abide by their policy, like Oligui Nguema is doing a foolishness policy, chances are these in the shadow, that person will be killed. This is the reality. You don't hear about them anymore, but because most of them are bullied, threatened, and killed. Mr. President, eat it. We appreciate your policy, but please lift your foot on immigrant policy. Ban drug use in America. Ban multiple genders like homosexuality, obviously, and stuff like that. They can do their stuff in an Eden Park, but not obviously. It's not a human nature. Thank you, Mr. President, and help us leading better, or make us the advisor of the global economy and global world and global law. Thank you. It was Dr. Nasser Nguema. Thanks.